In this video, I'll share my opinion on the brand new Olympus OMDS 8-25mm f4 zoom lens. Hi guys, my name is Matti Sulanto and I'm a photographer. And this is the brand new Olympus OMDS 8-25mm f4 zoom lens. I was expecting OMDS to contact me regarding this lens. However, the contact came with a very short notice and I was only allowed a very short time with this lens. So this video is more like a first impressions review than a proper review. But I'm going to share whatever I've experienced so far with this lens. So this is the first new lens. I think this is the first new lens with the new owner, the OMD or the new company OMDS. However, I'm not sure if this an OMDS design from scratch. I have a feeling that this lens was in the pipeline already when Olympus sold their camera business. But here it is anyway. It's a very interesting lens, and now let's take a look what it's made of and what it can do based on this very short experience that I've had with this lens. And let's start with the build quality. First of all, it still says Olympus on the side of the lens like it used to be before, and it also says Pro on the side of the lens, or actually I'm not sure if it says that on the lens, but the box says Pro, so it's a Pro grade lens, and it certainly looks very similar to the 12-40mm and all other Olympus Pro lenses. Fully weather sealed, manual focus clutch, all very nice. However, I have to say that I was a little bit disappointed when I first picked up the lens and started using it. I mean, listen to this. It's a pro grade lens, but it rattles. I hope you can hear it. It rattles, and I don't think a pro grade lens should rattle like this. I hit the microphone. That was not the lens. And there's not even a stabilizer here because a loose stabilizer element might make a rattling sound when the power is not on. So it may be a pro grade lens, fully weather sealed, and the zoom ring is very smooth and light, and also the manual focus is very smooth and light. But I mean, it feels, and also the inner barrel is hard plastic, so it feels a little bit too rattly and cheap to me for a pro grade lens. But when the lens is retracted like this, because before you can use it you have to extend it like so. When it's retracted like this, except that it still rattles, but all the exterior materials or the outer barrel materials feel really good, and also the zoom and focus ring both feel high quality and high quality materials. And the zoom range is really super practical. It goes all the way from 8mm super wide angle to 25mm standard lens. In full frame terms, that would be from 16 to 50mm. The maximum aperture is f4, constant f4 all through the zoom range, which is really nice, of course. However, on a Micro Four Thirds camera, f4 is kind of a modest maximum aperture, and if you want to freeze any kind of motion, even when the light levels drop a little bit, you'll find yourself cranking up the ISO very soon. But of course, if you don't need to freeze any kind of motion or movement, then you can of course rely on Olympus's very excellent image stabilizer. And if you're using Panasonic camera, that like I was using, I used the GX9 camera, you can also rely on that because Lumix stabilizer is also pretty good. But I can imagine a day here in Finland in November or December, cloudy day, around noon or 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 8 to 25mm f4 zoom lens. It feels a little bit too rattly and cheap to me for a pro grade lens. But I mean, it feels, and also the inner barrel is hard plastic, so it feels a little bit too rattly and cheap to me for a pro grade lens. f4 at ISO 200 is going to give you maybe 1 over 125 second exposure time, which is not enough to freeze even a walking person. So the f4 is not exactly a fast aperture, but it's constant, and it helps to keep this lens relatively compact. But this is not exactly a small lens in the Micro Four Thirds by Micro Four Thirds standards. The filter thread is quite big, 72 millimeters, and when you extend the lens to its working length, it's not exactly a small lens. I guess you can say it's rather compact for what it is, but it's not a small lens. The autofocus is totally silent and super fast, at least on the GX9 that I used to try the camera. Where's the camera? It's here. Also the image quality is really, really high. The sharpness is very good at every aperture, but of course you don't want to stop down too far, because then you'll hit the diffraction, which is going to give you a little bit softer pictures. But then again, you would expect the image quality to be really high because of the kind of modest maximum aperture that this lens has, the maximum constant f4. However, I still like this lens. I think, for example, the zoom range is perfect for me because I'm not a telephoto shooter. I'd much rather have a lens that goes from a standard focal length to a wide or super wide than a lens that goes from a moderate wide angle to a short telephoto. And also the constant maximum f4 aperture is very nice if you're using this for video work. Then whenever you change the focal length, you can still maintain your exposure throughout the clips or throughout the clip if you zoom in the middle of the video clip. There are no distortions or no bad chromatic aberrations visible. And this lens is not any kind of a bokeh monster because of the f4 maximum aperture. Pretty much everything is sharp all the time in terms of depth of field. You can get some sort of blurry background if you shoot close-ups at 25 millimeters and f4 aperture. The price is in sub €1,000 dollar category, depending on where you live. And I think it's a reasonable price. It's not cheap, but it's not too expensive either. For that money, you will get a fully weather-sealed, sharp, pro-grade lens. However, I still think this lens rattles a little bit too much to my taste for a pro-grade lens. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next video.